Welcome. Thank you for watching another episode of A Soldier's Life. I am Sergeant First Class Michael Warrick from the Horseheads Recruiting Station. This episode is really unique. I mean, they're all unique, but this one's really nice just in regards to, we're going to take a look at what is called Additional Skill Identifiers. Now, a lot of times when people come looking at the Army Reserves, we show them a list of the jobs they qualify for, but in those jobs, each one has an opportunity to pursue the additional skill identifiers that are out there. Now, there are some jobs that are unique to those MOSs, but there's also a whole bunch of other lists of ASIs, again, the additional skill identifiers, for furthering their education or training for special techniques and training for certain things. The first one we're going to look at some of the content on is the sniper. Now, this is one of the biggest things we have when we have individuals coming in looking at combat jobs, mainly infantry or cavalry scout. They want to know about sniper school. How can I become a sniper? And it's not so much a combat job that will allow you to go into a sniper school and become sniper qualified. We have a recruiter out in the Jamestown area of New York named Staff Sergeant Lett, who is sniper qualified, and his primary job is dealing with fuel. He deals with any kind of aircraft fuel or fuel for our wheeled vehicles, stuff like that. But he's gone to the sniper course and got his sniper ASI. So here's some content about snipers.
All right, there are two individuals who are presently sniper students at the United States Army Sniper Course. They are very close to me. They are not terribly far away. They are on my side of the fence. I'm Staff Sergeant Brian Moran. I'm an instructor here at the United States Army Sniper Course. So Sniper School is a very important school, not just to us, but also to the entire military as a whole. It fills a very important role that allows units to expand their reach well beyond the front lines. They're able to get behind enemy lines within very close proximity to targets, obtain very important reconnaissance that they can then send back to their units to be used for planning and planning purposes. All right, first man, go ahead and come up. So here on student number one, we've got what is known as a ghillie suit. The purpose of the ghillie suit is to break up the individual's outline and allow him to blend in with his surroundings. All right, there is still a second sniper in your immediate field of view. The reason that we have to remain so unseen at all times is obviously because we're trying to detect the enemy while remaining undetected ourselves. When we operate in as small as two-man teams. So without ready support, we're not going to be able to sustain a long firefight. We need to be able to be unseen by the enemy, obtain the intelligence needed, and then be able to move out or take a shot if needed. Second man, go ahead and come forward. So the individual here is covered head to toe in green foliage. He's got broad leaves on him because his immediate area was also matched with green leaves, allowing him to blend into what's known as the negative space, or the space that does not take up mass. So he's done a good job here, he's executed it well, and he's kept himself concealed from viewing eyes. From the United States Army Sniper Course, thank you for viewing with us. Thanks for watching.
Snipers are well known for their expert shooting skills. But in order to be able to effectively hit their mark, they first have to learn how to hide from their enemy, detect their target, and estimate how far away it is. These are all things they learn during the first part of sniper school.
Our whole mission here and when we go overseas is to move into an observation position and pretty much just observe a location for an extended period of time. And if we can't move into that position without being detected, it could compromise the entire mission and have follow-on effects afterwards.
During the stalk lane, students have to camouflage into their surroundings by covering themselves with leaves and branches. Their objective, to hit the target truck about 700 meters away without being detected.
Really the challenging part is just moving in position and finding a target loophole so that you're able to see the truck without them seeing you. It's really easy to get spotted, especially if you move into a a downhill position or an area that is really thin.
Your ID is whiskey.
Good ID, check him out.
Roger that.
The students then head to the range where they learn about target detection, which is spotting abnormalities in their surroundings, such as shine, shape, and irregular features. Then they work on range estimation, where they use both their naked eye and scopes to estimate how far away an unknown target is.
With the naked eye, it's harder because at longer distances there's a lot of stuff that deceives you from the actual range. Defilade, and the way the sun shines on your target in front of it and behind it, it can affect the naked eye and how far it actually is and how far it actually looks. And then with the reticle, actually getting a good mill using correct measurements.
The target is anywhere between 100 and 800 meters away. The students get approximately 3 minutes to use mathematical equations to find the estimated distance of a target.
Being a sniper, it's a lot of mathematics. A lot of it has to do with being able to put in the right data to get the right output so you know where you need to be aiming in the crosshairs to hit your target. And a lot of that has to do with formulas, whether it's for wind, knowing what kind of wind's out there, or whether it's with your trajectory and knowing what formulas to use when milling to find ranges.
Stalking, target detection, and range estimation are all skills that every sniper needs. By learning these, students are more prepared when they start the next part of sniper school, marksmanship.
Welcome back. That was some really good content about sniper. Again, you know, that's probably one of the biggest things we get asked about a lot is about how can I become a sniper? You know, you get the tab and everything and you are a qualified sniper. All right. One of the other content ASIs we're going to look into is Pathfinder. Now, Pathfinder's responsibility and job, if you will, is basically before an operation comes into an area and it's going to be an airborne or an air assault operation. All right, we have individuals who come in and set up everything so they can coordinate the air assault or the airborne operations to come in, whether it's equipment, personnel, so on and so forth. They have to go through this 3-week course to become Pathfinder. Now, that's really a big ASI that we get asked about a lot. So we're going to look at some content in regards to Pathfinder.
Pathfinders are some of the most skillfully trained soldiers in the Army. In this next story, I'll show you how the Army tests their Pathfinders for technical expertise.
Pathfinder students have spent the last few weeks learning how to set up sling loads, establish drop zones, and direct aircraft. Now they'll put their skills in practice with their field exercise.
We're going to jump into one of the drop zones, and from there we're going to do sling load operations, break off into different areas to do different operations that we've learned over the last 2 weeks and apply those in the field.
While groups of students jump from a helicopter, the soldiers on the ground use their new expertise to direct and signal the aircraft.
With 2 jumpers, stand by.
We give them this course so that they learn how to do the transmission and how to put an aircraft in the pattern and set up the drop zone all at the same time. And this allows them to set up a drop zone, receive supplies or personnel aid, however, by aircraft, depending on whether it's fixed wing or rotary wing.
All no fly areas are still in effect. Over.
This training is primarily for soldiers who interact regularly with aircraft, but it isn't only for them. Any soldier in any unit on the ground who is Pathfinder qualified can be called on to assist.
If I know this information about sling loads and drop zones and all that kind of stuff, then I could actually assist in sling load operations. So the more I know, the better. Also, if my unit needs a Pathfinder or something, and they realize they don't have that many, then I would be able to be pulled into that and assist in any way possible.
Pathfinder School is intended to gain students a technical expertise and a practical understanding of how to correctly interact with rotary and fixed-wing aircraft. This in-depth knowledge can only come from Pathfinder.
It's very much an academic course. It's very different from anything I've ever done. So that, as far as like the amount of information, the fact that it's new, the fact that it's technical, it makes it very, very difficult. And the pace that you're learning everything just makes it a very difficult course that I'll be very proud when I walk out of here with a torch.
As a fraction of the class that started this course pins on their torch, they enter a new realm of possibility in their careers. Because anywhere an aircraft is used, among the soldiers on the ground, you'll find these technical experts, Pathfinder qualified soldiers.
So that was some really great content on Pathfinder. Now this next one we're going to look into a little bit is dealing with armor crewmen, all right, or tanker. Now for 7 years of my career, I was a tanker. I was an armor crewman. I went from, there's 4 positions on the tank. I went from a driver to a loader to the gunner to the tank commander. Now, it's called the Kilo 4 is the armor crewman ASI. And what this, does is, so you're an operator and you could do some maintenance on some of the components. Now, we do have additional jobs, if you will, for the turret and the hull maintenance mechanics that work on our tanks. Now, I'll be honest with you, this was my first job in the Army, and when my recruiter showed me the video about some of the jobs that I qualified for, when he showed me the one about tanks, I was blown out of my shoes. I mean, it showed a turret spinning around and boom, boom, jumped over a big old berm and stuff like that. And it really excited me. And I was young and I was looking for some adventure. And I'll be honest with you, if the Department of the Army came down tomorrow and said, Sergeant Warrick, we want you to come back for tanks for a couple years, are you ready to go? Yep, that'd be my answer, because it was very exciting, very fun. The camaraderie I had with a lot of the soldiers I worked with as a tank operator or tank crewman, it was just fantastic. So again, we're looking at some of the content dealing with tanks.
I'm Stephen Holwagner. I'm a sergeant in the United States Army. I'm a 19 kilo, and my position on this tank is gunner. I've always wanted to be a soldier. Tanker just sort of was one of those things. I was signing up, and my recruiter was actually a tanker, so I think that had something to do with it. I love it. I wouldn't have it any other way. I just got to a point one day, I was delivering pizzas, which actually wasn't a terrible job, but I was just tired of it and decided I was going to go ahead and join the Army. I went in, talked to my recruiter, took the ASVAB, got processed, and here I am. As you work your way up as a tanker, you do all the different jobs. I've driven, I've loaded. My next spot would be tank commander, but I got to do my gunner time first. If you stay in long enough, you get a chance to do every job. As a gunner, I control the turret, where it moves, what we're seeing. I can hit things over 2 miles away. If it comes to it, I engage targets. I control both of the main weapon systems on this tank. Honestly, the Army's just prepared me for life in general. It puts things in perspective. Really, I think it just made me a better person all around. If you love leading the way, being the biggest, baddest thing out there, you would love tanking.
Welcome back. We're going to look at some content dealing with the EOD MOS. All right, EOD stands for Explosive Ordnance Disposal, and this ASI is an Echo 8. Now, if we have an explosion somewhere, and obviously it wasn't our ordnance that was exploding, these individuals go in there and they do an investigation on what type of explosive it was, so on and so forth. That's their job, is to analyze the area and come up with that kind of information. So it's really good content. It's a great skill to have, and it makes you very marketable if you decide to get out and look at some of those 3-letter agencies and so on and so forth.
Military Occupational Specialty, Explosive Ordnance Specialist. Explosive Ordnance Disposal Specialists perform this important task. These are the soldiers with the knowledge how to render safe explosive devices and properly dispose of devices that threaten life and property.
Someone that's successful in this MOS is someone that can use critical thinking skills to come up with a course of action that prevents loss of life or destruction to property.
To become an EOD specialist, you must be a volunteer and be fit enough to pass the bomb suit suitability test. You must also earn a qualifying score on the ASVAB or Armed Services Vocational Test, as well as qualify for a top secret clearance. After completing 10 weeks of basic combat training, soldiers receive 39 weeks of advanced individual training that's conducted in 2 phases. Phase 1 gives soldiers a basic introduction to EOD.
When soldiers get here, we'll go through the bomb suit suitability test. Once they get past that, that's when they actually start EOD school, which is modules A, B, C, D, and then on into challenge. And what we do is we build upon one module to the next.
Phase 2 includes putting that knowledge to the test by learning to identify, disarm, and render safe a variety of ordnance.
Soldiers will receive basic EOD training here, such as defeating IEDs and unexploded ordnance, working with live explosives.
The best part of training is definitely getting hands-on experience, as well as access to instructors and people that have been in the field and have real-life stories to tell you.
While in training, soldiers will spend time in the classroom and in the field under combat conditions. EOD specialists train in the hazards of U.S. and foreign munitions, as well as base electronics and arming and firing systems, as well as analyzing munitions and identification using the EOD publication system. You'll also train to dispose of munitions safely using special firing devices and to operate ordnance locators and remote control tools to identify biological and chemical threats and how to decontaminate and safely dispose of them. You'll perform render-safe procedures on items like missiles and the disposal of other types of munitions. After your initial entry training and your advanced individual training, you'll work in either a fixed location or an area where you can respond to specific emergencies or train for special tasks. The training and skills that soldiers acquire as an EOD specialist can lead to positions of greater responsibility in the Army and will continue to benefit the soldier after their service as they enter the civilian sector.
It translates very well. They will be able to get civilian law enforcement jobs, work with civilian bomb squads, even mining jobs.
The Credentialing Opportunities Online, or COOL website, helps Army service members find information on certifications and licenses related to their jobs. EOD work is demanding and full of challenges, and most of all, it can save lives. Become a part of the work's most versatile and dynamic forces, Military Occupational Specialty, Explosive Ordnance Disposal Specialist.
So that was some really good content dealing with EOD. Now this next content we're going to look into is the Army Band. Now, when you come into the Army Band, believe it or not, you do get an ASI. Now, coming in the Army Band, that's what the job you do is the band. But when you specialize in an instrument, whether it's the trombone, the clarinet, what have you, you actually receive an ASI for that specific instrument. Now, to touch base on that real quick, we put a young lady in out of Ithaca College. She was a graduate at Ithaca College about a year ago or so, and she's touched base with us a little bit. And I'd be honest with you, probably the best news I heard when we first heard back from her, she was so excited because the Army gave her, right, a $10,000 plus flute, and that's hers. She can, you know, use it at home, so on and so forth, and she loves the job. She goes around and, you know, plays at big ceremonies, so on and so forth, huge events, football games. When you join the band and you qualify for the band, that's all you do is the Army Band. So we're going to look at some great content in the Army Band.
In 1946, then Chief Warrant Officer Chester Whiting organized a band to take the Army's story to the grassroots of America, creating what would become the United States Army Field Band. Now, in service of the Office of Chief of Public Affairs, the U.S. Army Field Band includes 4 performing components: the concert band, the Soldiers' Chorus, the Jazz Ambassadors, and the Volunteers. Each component tours the United States approximately 100 days per year. The Army Field Band reaches live audiences of more than 1 million Americans annually with the Army's story. The 62-member concert band, together with the Soldiers' Chorus, a 28-voice mixed vocal ensemble, is the largest of the U.S. Army Field Band's components. It continues to bring the Army story to the most impressive orchestra halls, the humblest school auditoriums, and everything in between. The Jazz Ambassadors are the premier touring big band of the United States Army. Preserving the American art form of jazz since 1969, this 19-member band has earned rave reviews from jazz critics and audiences ever since, making it a mainstay of jazz festivals around the world and earning it the title America's Big Band. The Volunteers, the Army's premier touring rock band. The Army's premier touring rock band, the Volunteers, has been thrilling audiences since 1981. The 6-member rock band is as comfortable performing for tens of thousands in sporting arenas as they are playing school assemblies and acoustic sets for wounded warriors in Walter Reed National Military Medical Center. Members of the Volunteers have twice deployed to Iraq and Kuwait in support of Operation Enduring Freedom and Operation New Dawn, and are regulars at music festivals all year round. The Volunteers, playing America's popular music. The soldier musicians of the Army Field Band have a long history of supporting music education. Their presence in schools and at state music educators' conventions as well as sponsorship of the Army All-American Marching Band, Young Artist Competition, and the growing body of educational media have made the Army Field Band the face of America's military to the next generation of musicians. With the majestic sound of the concert band and soldiers' chorus, the versatility of the band's chamber groups, the timeless swing of the jazz ambassadors, and the hard-hitting energy of the volunteers, the United States Army Field Band is equipped to carry the Army's story across America for generations to come. Their soldiers start strong, serve strong, and return to America's communities strong. To see what the men and women of America's Army are capable of, look to the United States Army Field Band, the musical ambassadors of the Army.
So that was some great content dealing with the Army Band. Again, the Army Band is a great opportunity for, high school students, college students, or even if you are just in a band and you want to try out for the Army Band, please, again, come on down to our office. This is a great episode dealing with ASIs. Now, we couldn't throw all the ASIs in this episode because there are so many. I mean, honestly, there's probably 20, 30 plus ASIs. I have several myself. I'm a Kilo 4. I have an ASI for being a sexual harassment assault reporting program. And I have a couple more I really can't talk about on camera, but please come down to the office and we can talk about more about ASIs and how you can get down that road and get you qualified to join the United States Army. Again, I'm Sergeant First Class Mike Warrick. I really appreciate you guys watching our episode today, and strengthen the nation, one commitment at a time.